Today's special edition of Talk to Me is sponsored by the Montford Point Marine Association, Chapter 47, calling all branches. If you are a veteran or an active duty member of any branch of the United States Armed Forces, regardless of race, creed, or national origin, join the Montford Point Marine Association Chapter 47 in Charleston, South Carolina. It's a new chapter waiting to have you join them. Honor the Montford Point Marine legacy. You can contact them at president.chasmpma@gmail.com. Don't miss your opportunity to be a part of the legacy, to be a part of history of the Montford Point Marines. Welcome to Talk to Me. I'm your host, Brenda Warren, the Solutionist. I see things other people often miss, and I am joined today by one of my favorite people on the planet, the 15-minute result coach, Miss Lisa Ducharme. Lisa, how you doing today?
I am doing good, and I love being one of your favorite people on the planet because that's important to me because you are one of my favorite people.
And today I wanted to do this special edition on Tell Yourself Tuesday because I got an interesting email. And it basically told me that I was not successful. I was like, say what? Are you serious? You see, Lisa, a week ago, I was very excited when I was recommended to be on a podcast. I love being on other people's podcasts because it's my way to meet new friends, gain new networking associates, and to just spread my message that mindset matters, that anyone can live their best life now, and that you can define success your way. So imagine my shock and my horror when I received an email today that told me my podcast interview for today, scheduled at 4 p.m., was canceled because I am not successful. Who knew? I had no idea, Lisa, that I was not successful. And then, furthermore, they then had the nerve to ask me to buy their 12-week coaching program so that I could be a success. You gotta love it. So I thought, how important would it be to get here on our platform and talk about how do you define success? And on this Tell Yourself Tuesday, what are you telling yourself about success and the importance of how you interact with others when you're trying to get them to be a part of your show or get them to purchase your products? What say you, Lisa?
Oh, I have so many things to say in reference to this. So, first, let's just start off with nobody defines success but you. That's the most important thing I can say. And you and I both know how successful you are in a wide variety of things. I mean, we can even go back to your time as a Marine, a gunnery sergeant, retired 20 plus years of service. Mark and Katie really kind of tanked here. I'm not going to say their organization, but I think it's so important that when you actually are asking people and reaching out and you want people to be on the podcast, don't use being on a podcast and having people fill out application as your lead magnet. That is a major fail. First of all, I would never recommend anybody to be on this podcast. And I will assure you that there will be a lot of people who won't even go there. But it's really important that you also look at your subject line because the subject line is canceled in parentheses and it says, at this time, you've not been successful. Mm-hmm. If I would have gotten an email like that, I would have responded. I would not have taken it as nicely as Brenda did. I would have bashed them from here to heaven and back just because of how unprofessional it was. First of all, they wasted your valuable time. Because you took time, and anybody else who applied for this podcast took time to fill out an application.
An extensive application, Lisa, may I add.
And then they even had you schedule. So yes, you have taken time out of your schedule, mm-hmm. put it on your calendar, to make sure that you didn't use that time, which you could have used for a number of things this close to Thanksgiving. So they completely disrespected your time. But even that, they disrespected you. And I cannot stand when businesses fail like that. When businesses fail to consider the people. We know that I'm gruff and I'm rough, you know.
Hmm.
I'm very direct, but I am not disrespectful. And I value people's time. And I would never send something that says you have not been successful. In this particular case, they were talking about the application, but they actually, in their email, they actually act as if there's somebody who is important. First of all, there's nobody on this world or in this world who's important enough to send an email that disrespects somebody else and disrespects your time. I'm just saying.
I would say, even if that wasn't their intent, and I took it a little bit differently. What I took issue with is that the extensive process that you had to do to apply for this podcast, all the information, they asked my financial information, they asked what I did, and then to have that as the subject line that I was not successful, I was something feeling some kind of way because I always thought I was successful. But according to them, I'm not. And then I should take their 12-week program, which is going to make me a success. So I had to giggle just a little bit, but I also thought about other people that would have gone through this process. Now, in their defense, they clearly say in their promotions that they have a lot of applications. They also say that everybody will not be picked. They also say that they use this to get their clients because we are their ideal client. So my first thought was, once I got through the entire process, Lisa, honestly, I expected my appointment to be canceled because once they read my bio that I provided and everything, I don't believe I would be their ideal client because I am already so successful. So what I took issue with is not that I did not get to be on the podcast, because like I said, based on the process, what they said after I had filled out the application in their little lovely video, I was like, I'm not their ideal client. I'm more competition. So I'll probably get canceled. And I was prepared for that. But I had set aside the time because of what they do. I was really looking forward to meeting the both of them because I thought what they do is very amazing, and what an awesome opportunity to meet a fellow entrepreneurs that were doing what I do, and also to see what their thoughts are on being successful in business, because they give out a lot of great content. What I took issue with is the email I received a cancellation. If they had simply said, at this time, we're not able to do use your interview, or we're too booked up, just some generic thing, that I could have lived with. But to have the tagline be that you are not successful and then go on to ask me to purchase something was uh, business fail 101 as far as I was concerned. Because even if I were in a position that I was not successful, an email like that uh, could have me question my own abilities and or my business status, which is why today I really wanted to talk about, how do you define success? Because I believe each person defines success differently, which is why I love working with the people I work with, because I really encourage my clients to plan their business success in a way that suits them. As you know, Lisa, I take every other month off. Now, the other day when I told that to a young man, he thought I could never do that. And guess what? You're right. He could never do that. He would never want to do that. But that's how he defines success. This young man gets on TikTok 6, 7 times a day, but that lights him up. Me, I would have to jump off the coffee table if I was required to get on TikTok that much. I'm doing good if I get on it daily. So again, for me, success is getting on social media once a day and doing my YouTube videos once a week, where I have other entrepreneurs that are doing TikTok and YouTube videos daily. Each of us has to decide what success looks like for us. So I really want to unpack that a little bit while we're talking through here. What are your thoughts, Lisa?
You know, I totally agree. First of all, I'd be like you. You might as well just knock me off the table if I had to do TikTok more than once a day or any social media more than once a day. It would just not happen. But for me, I think success is about resilience. And I know that you're in my generation, we were brought up learning resilience. Today, resilience is not necessarily taught. So, resilience comes from within. It's really all about us taking that situation, whatever it is, and getting back up. How many times do we fall and give up? And it's possible at that particular moment that we have given up, it's really possible that we were right there at that borderline. If we would have just stayed one more minute, one more hour, one more day, we would have succeeded in whatever it was we were trying to do. So for me, I think being successful means that I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Success for me is internal, not external.
And, you know, with that thought, I wanted to share some tips on what I think makes people successful, or at least the things that I believe have made me successful over the past few years as I have journeyed from hobby to business. And I'm still in the hobby mode, actually, as far in my mind as I see it, because I haven't taken it as serious as some others. But again, my situation allows me to do that. But there's other people that say, "Oh, you straight up serious," because at this current time, I'm a 3-time best-selling author. You know, I just launched my self-publishing division of the business, and we are starting the group coaching portal in December. The magazine launches in January. That doesn't sound like a failure to me. What do you say, Lisa?
I'm right there with you. And don't forget, Take Action University.
Oh, yes, we don't want to forget that. Take Action University is coming. So I'm doing a lot of things that, by my standards, define success, even if it didn't by those people on that particular podcast. And it's Tell Yourself Tuesday. And I learned a long time ago that it's important that I root for myself. So I tell myself on a regular basis that I am successful. I tell myself that there is nothing I can accomplish. I tell myself that the only limits that I have are the limits I place on myself. So I want to share these 8 tips that have made it possible for me to succeed in what it is I'm doing in my personal and my business life over the past few years. My tip number 1 is that I don't make excuses. Lisa, I realized excuses were preparation for me to fail. And the truth is, I used to have lots of excuses. Oh, I'm too fat, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that. You know, my mother used to say excuses are like buttholes. Everybody's got one. You know, she didn't say but the point is everybody's got an excuse for something. And I think that excuses are delaying the inevitable. What do you think about excuses, Lisa?
I totally agree. There's no value to excuses. You know, you've done something, you can't go back and change it in most cases, but you can learn from it. So take the situation, look at it, learn from it, say, I screwed up. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have to admit to screwing up, even when I don't want to. But it's an action that has occurred. I've made a mistake. Now I move on. Because if I make excuses for myself, then I have not accepted what I did. And basically, by not accepting what I did, it puts you in a negative, and then the stacking begins because you never get past the excuse.
Okay. Tip number 2 is have an objective. I learned really quickly dealing with Lisa, my accountability coach, that if I didn't set clear goals, that I was just having a random experience at life. With Lisa's tutelage, I was able to set some clear objectives, some clear goals, and I didn't set a lot of them. I set 2 or 3 and then take action on those first, get those behind me, and then keep moving forward. How important do you believe having objectives or goals are important for people to be successful, Lisa?
Actually, believe it or not, they're critical. And even if the goal or the objective is subconscious, even if you're not directly, you know what you want. So with that goal, what you want to do is you want to make sure you know what the ultimate outcome is that you want, because it's difficult to reach anything unless you know why you want it and what the ultimate outcome is, because it's got to get you somewhere, right? It's kind of like, backing out of a driveway. You don't need to see 10 miles down the road, but you need to know where you're going once you get out to that driveway.
I like that. Tip number 3 is if you fail to have a plan, you plan to fail. You know, when we began to talk about Take Action University, we began to talk about the self-publishing, the group coaching, the magazine. We had to lay out plans so that we kind of knew where we were heading. And, I'm one of those people that often just are attracted by what we call shiny objects. So I'll have an idea to do something, and before you know it, I'm off doing something else because I had no plan, no rhyme, no reason. And I'm very fortunate to have Lisa in my life who corrals the cats and reminds me to stay on task. How important do you believe plans are for people being successful?
Hugely, hugely, hugely important. Although, let me tell you, I do not always corral the cat. Let's just go there, because shiny objects are shiny objects. We love to pretend, but no, plans are important. The one most important thing that we learned in the military is you not only have to have plan A, but you have to have plan B, C, and D as well. I was in an argument with somebody several years back where she says, well, if you have plan B, C, and D, then you've already planned to fail. And my answer is no, 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 no. You have to have plan A, B, and C, and D, because the reality is something is always going to get in your way. Nothing is ever perfect. I would love if I had a plan and it went perfect every time. We're in a technology world. At least 2/3 of the stuff doesn't work. How many times have you wanted to get on a Zoom and it takes you a while to get onto a meeting? Or how many times did your internet go out? Or, you always have to have multiple plans. And that actually gives you that path that you need. It gives you the roadmap, kind of like a GPS. GPS, you put the address in and it gets you to where you want to go. Your plan is the same thing.
Lisa, the next tip that I have after making sure I had a clear plan was remember not to make the same mistake. They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Well, I'm happy to say that I often have learned from my mistakes and remember to not repeat them. I've tried to make habits that are effective become behaviors that I repeat, and ineffective behaviors I just discard. What is your thought about repeating the same mistakes?
I totally agree 100%. You try to avoid them, but in order to avoid them, you have to figure out what the mistake was, which means you have to be honest with yourself. We're going to go back to that self-integrity word that I absolutely challenge myself with all the time, ever since you taught it to me, which really wished you hadn't, but you did. That. But you have to be honest with yourself and figure out why the mistake happened so that you do not make it again. Because oftentimes when we look at it, we say it's a mistake. It's very easy to blame somebody else for the mistake. It's very easy to blame the situation for the mistake. But when you really look at what the mistake was, be honest about it, and what the mistake is, find a way to make sure it doesn't happen again.
That's good. One of the tip number 5 that I learned the hard way, Lisa, is I don't expect other people to change. It's hard enough getting myself to change. And just like I don't expect that this particular podcast will change the way they do business, because it's been successful for them, because they do have a successful platform and they have lots of amazing guests. But with that, taking ownership on how I feel about interactions with certain people, or how I can behave, which is why I will not say the name of the podcast, because it's not my intention to bash anybody. We all have our business practices or way we do things, but I don't expect other people to change. I just make the self-adjustment so that I'm in line with my core beliefs when I interact with others.
And that's what we have to do. We have to realize that we are 1 in 33 million. We are so different from everybody else. Sometimes it's appropriate to address the situation, but if you know that whatever you say is not going to change somebody, then you have to make a decision. Do you say something professionally? If you can't say it professionally, like I could not respond to that email professionally, so I would not respond to that email. I'm just saying, if I got it, I would not be able to respond to it professionally. So I would not respond to it, so they would never know my opinion. But, we can't change people. We can provide our feedback if they want it. I mean, even as of this morning, Brenda was saying, Lisa, don't do it. Do not respond to that email. And not this particular one, but a different one, because I'm not going to change anybody. So there's no purpose. So sometimes, but just realize we're 1 in 33 million. We're all different. And no, you don't want to change anybody. You let them be who they are, but you can make suggestions if you can do it professionally and appropriately and not in a criticizing way. Just remember that different opinions happen.
Yeah, gratitude goes a long way. And I think that in this case, as far as sharing my opinion about what they did, my mother used to always tell me, baby, sometimes it's just got to be enough that God knows. So that's the approach I'm taking with this one. Because, Lisa, that's how I protect my peace and maintain my joy. It's just one of those, really? And keep it moving. Which leads me to tip number 6. Lisa, I had to learn to not choose comfort over progress. Not choosing comfort over progress. This for the past 74 days, we've been working with Dr. Denise Sincere, the wellness mentor, on her Level Up program. And it's been an amazing ride. Now, comfort wise, I would have rather stayed in the bed in the morning, but I've been getting up at 5 a.m., sometimes 4 a.m. And there were even times I had to get up at 2 a.m. to make sure I stuck with this plan because I was not willing to give up, the short-term comfort and lose the long-term advantages that have come from me doing this program. And I'm happy to say at last weigh-in, I've already lost 17 pounds. I've gotten so much accomplished because it was definitely a mental mindset shift. So choosing progress over comfort has been big in me maintaining momentum in my business and in my personal lives. What say you, Lisa?
You know what? I totally agree, 100%. But I look at it a little bit differently in the comfort realm.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I look at it in there are things that we just don't like to do.
Okay.
And it can be comfort, it can be anything we want, but sometimes it's the fear of moving forward. So I think that progress is always important. And when you teach time management, one of the very first things that you have people do is you have them change their focus and just hit things head on. And because progress will always be more important than comfort and fear.
That's good. I like that. I would like to say tip number 7 is I had to learn to play to my strengths. Lisa, we joke about me and my shiny objects mentality. But my strength is the shiny objects is what keeps me interested so I can do the things that do not keep my interest. Yeah, what I have the attention span of a goldfish or less. And so I hope you'll talk about that for a minute for those that don't understand the relevance of a goldfish's attention. But I really do understand that my strength is I am a connector, that I have great empathy, that I am really good with connecting with others, networking, and connecting people with the right people. And so learning to play to my strengths and not downplay them has been something really important for my success.
No, I totally agree. And let's not forget learner, which is why Brenda knows so many things and she can be the solutionist and see things that others can't see. It's because she has so much information and she loves to learn. And so the goldfish, so what most people don't realize is that in a recent study, it's been determined that our attention span is less than the goldfish, which is a
Wow.
sad commentary because a goldfish's attention span is 9 seconds. Our attention span is 8.25 seconds.
Wow.
And when you are on a Zoom, an hour long Zoom, you will only pay attention to 2% of that Zoom time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a really sad commentary, but you do want to.
And especially when we're doing so much Zoom nowadays, and that's how a lot of people are now making their money, which is why it's important that Zooms become more interactive, more entertaining, which is why I love if you guys that are listening or hear the replay have not heard of the Doctor of Fun, Megan Bazin, then you need to find out and I'm gonna put her information in the description, Lisa, because my friend Megan is amazing. And yeah, I love her. So she's the Doctor of Fun, and she's just kind of always making you laugh. And she does corporate events, and it's things like that that will keep people like me that have the shiny object syndrome paying attention so that we do not get bored and look away. My final tip, Lisa, is important to what we're discussing right now. It's called Ignore the Little Things. And that email that told me I was not successful was a little thing for me. I wouldn't let it steal my joy or rock my peace. What I did do is propel me to action so that for the entrepreneurs out there listening or people in personal relationships, remember when someone tells you something, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to receive it. We can respectfully agree to disagree. And I disagree with their assessment of my success because I wake up every morning very aware, Lisa, that I'm a designer's original, that I have accomplished many things in my life, and that I'm extremely successful right here where I sit in my sewing room in Goldsboro, North Carolina, talking to people all around the world about how they can live their best lives now. What is now, no opportunity wasted. And each time I get a DM, an email, a message from someone that says, Brenda, your Tell Yourself Tuesdays changed my life, I feel like a very big success, Lisa.
Well, we already know you are a success. We also know that, like you said, that was a lead magnet. It's a poor lead magnet, but it's a lead magnet nonetheless. And then I totally agree. We all remember the book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And in my world, it's all small stuff. And I always tell people, you don't worry until I tell you it's time to worry. And I will tell you, in the last 10 years, I've never told anybody it's time to worry because it really isn't. Everything is small. And I realize that it can seem like there's so much going on and there's such heavy things going on. But if you take off the layers,
Mm-hmm.
throw the small stuff away. Only focus on the stuff that are the big things that you have to address because you don't want to be in a state of emergency all the time. You want to be in a state of, I want to get something accomplished, get the task done, and move on. And in life, we want to do the same thing. In relationships, we want to do the same thing. You can fight over everything, but what's the purpose? Everybody's different. And like you said, you can agree to disagree.
For my fellow podcasters or bloggers or influencers or just people in business out there, I want to remind you that gratitude and kindness goes a long way. When someone takes the time out of their busy schedule to apply for your show, even if you're not able to put them on your show, be mindful of the message that you're sending when you cancel them or you change dates or you reschedule because you never want to burn the bridge that you may have to cross again someday. My mother taught me that as a child, and it has served me well as an adult. So I will remember and learn from this particular incident that we're all human. We all make a choice on how we show up in our businesses. But remember, your emails, your videos, your texts, your social media, they represent your brand. What is your brand saying when you send an email to tell someone that they're not successful? Think about it. It's just a thought. But remember, no matter what you decide and how you run your business, it's your business. No matter how you define success, that's your business as well. But I hope that each and every one of you on this Tell Yourself Tuesday will remember to root for yourself. Tell yourself something good, tell yourself something positive, and remember, what you tell others matters as well. Lisa, final thoughts?
You know what? We are right on the cusp of Thanksgiving. We are right there with Black Friday. We're right there with Cyber Monday. Look at how you're doing business and look at how others are doing business, and learn from it. Just take a look to see. Now's a really good time to change because, like Brenda said earlier, today's day to be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how grateful I am every morning and every night. The fact that I make it through a day, I'm extremely grateful.
I am too. And for anyone out there that's looking for support and how to take action, please contact Lisa. She's the 15 minutes results coach. Lisa, you want to tell them your Instagram or email how they can get in touch with you?
It's Lisa at your15minutecoach.com.
Lisa at your15minutecoach.com. My information is above my head there. We both look forward to supporting you in your coaching needs at any time that you need them. We also would like to remind everyone that an attitude of gratitude goes a long way. And remember, The choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely. There's my timer, Lisa. It's time to go.